Following Prince Harry's departure from the royal family, the publication of a memoir was highly anticipated. Preceding its release, Prince Harry and Meghan's 2021 interview with Oprah Winfrey caused considerable controversy because the couple claimed a royal family member had expressed concerns about their baby's skin color. Harry and Meghan gave several more high-profile interviews before the memoir's release. All were critical of the royal family and its failure to support the couple. Spare was translated into 15 languages, and the official publication date was January 10, 2023. However, an error led to the Spanish edition going on sale 5 days before the release date. Although the Spanish version was quickly withdrawn from shelves, enough copies had been sold for details of the book's content to be distributed worldwide. The passages that caused the most controversy were Harry's admissions of drug use, his account of losing his virginity, and his description of Prince William physically attacking him. Following its official release date, Spare became the fastest-selling non-fiction book of all time, outselling Barack Obama's 2020 memoir, A Promised Land. Critical responses were mixed. Positive reviews hailed Spare as refreshingly frank, moving, and historically significant as a document of royal life. Less favorable reviews found the book's revelations too personal and considered it a poorly timed betrayal of the royal family, as publication closely followed the deaths of Prince Philip and Queen Elizabeth II. Among the most controversial aspects of Spare was Prince Harry's description of his military service in Afghanistan, declaiming them as unprofessional and misleading in their depiction of the army's attitude to combat, and pointing out that Harry's provocation of the Taliban was unwise, considering his preoccupation with protecting his family. Cultural context: the disruption and modernization of the British monarchy. Prince Harry has been accused of threatening the future of the British monarchy by breaking away from the royal family and openly critiquing their behavior. However, he claims that one of his intentions when writing Spare was to help modernize the institution. While his memoir has caused great controversy, Prince Harry isn't the first royal to disrupt the monarchy's status quo by breaking from tradition. During the past century, the royal family has weathered several crises that ultimately led to change and modernization. King Edward VIII, mentioned several times in Spare, is Prince Harry's most obvious historical precedent. Like Prince Harry, Edward fell in love with an American divorcee, Wallis Simpson, and in 1936 abdicated, stepping down from his royal duties to marry her. The Church of England had prohibited royal marriages to divorcees for hundreds of years, and King Edward's abdication only consolidated this directive. Consequently, when Captain Peter Townsend divorced his wife and proposed to Princess Margaret in 1953, the marriage was vetoed. By 1992, a series of well-publicized scandals led the Queen, as head of the Church of England, to reconsider the monarchy's stance on divorce. 3 years earlier, Princess Anne had separated from her husband, Captain Mark Phillips, and wanted to remarry. At the same time, the details of the unhappy marriage between the Prince and Princess of Wales became public. Princess Diana's decision to collaborate with the 1992 biography Diana, Her True Story by Andrew Morton, led to revelations of her husband's adultery with Camilla Parker Bowles. The following year, Prince Charles's affair was publicly confirmed when transcripts of his intimate conversations with Camilla were released. To save further public scandal, both Princess Anne and Prince Charles were permitted to divorce and remarry. A further threat to the royal family's future was the death of the Princess of Wales in 1997, an event that looms over Prince Harry's memoir. The grieving British public looked in vain to the palace for an official statement and observed that the flag wasn't lowered at Buckingham Palace. While the palace's inaction was entirely consistent with royal protocol, the public's outrage caused a break with tradition. The Queen paid tribute to Princess Diana in a TV broadcast, and the flag at Buckingham Palace was lowered for her funeral. In more recent years, the palace weathered another crisis with Prince Andrew's alleged involvement in the Jeffrey Epstein sex scandal. Prince Andrew was stripped of his royal duties and titles in January 2022. In 1997, Harry spends the summer at Balmoral Castle. His mother, Princess Diana, is in Paris with a male friend. The old nursery at Balmoral was converted into 2 bedrooms. Harry is allocated the smaller room because he's the spare, 3rd in line to the throne, while Prince William is the heir, 2nd in line. Harry's father wakes him up in the early hours of August 31, 1997. Prince Charles tells his son that Princess Diana has died in a car accident. The royal family goes to church the following day. On their return, they stop to look at flower tributes for the Princess of Wales. Harry takes his father's hand, causing a flurry of activity from the waiting press photographers. Prince Charles leaves for Paris with Princess Diana's sisters. When Harry's aunt, Sarah, returns, she gives both princes a lock of their mother's hair. Harry refuses to believe that his mother is dead. He convinces himself she faked her death and escaped to a new life. Outside Kensington Palace, Harry and Prince William greet crowds who have gathered in Princess Diana's memory. Many people are crying. The royal family discusses the funeral arrangements, deciding that Princes William and Harry will walk behind the carriage transporting their mother's coffin to Westminster Abbey. On the day of the funeral, Harry feels numb as he walks behind the coffin. Later, Prince William and Harry watch on TV as their mother's coffin is transported to Althorpe, her brother's estate. She's taken to an island in the middle of a pond to be buried. Harry finally begins to cry. Harry returns to Ludgrove boarding school, where matrons care for the boys. When Prince Harry wakes, he occasionally mistakes the matron for his mother. Although unhappy, he concentrates his energies on making his friends laugh. The matrons tell Harry to write his mother a final letter. He guiltily remembers being impatient to get off the phone the last time she called. During the school holidays, Prince Charles takes Prince Harry on an official trip to South Africa. The tour includes a meeting with Nelson Mandela and the Spice Girls. Harry suspects that the tour's purpose is to raise his father's popularity. Many people blame Prince Charles for Princess Diana's death. Prince Charles and Harry visit the site of the 1879 Battle of Rorke's Drift. The story of British soldiers holding off thousands of Zulu warriors inspires Harry, who's too young to understand that the battle exemplifies the British oppression of other nations. Back in school, Harry feels humiliated when his history teacher points out how little he knows about his royal ancestors. Shortly afterward, his teacher gives him a ruler engraved with the British monarchs. Harry's best friend at Ludgrove is Hennius. They often break school regulations and sneak into a nearby farm to feast on the strawberries. Ludgrove is near the psychiatric hospital Broadmoor. Harry and his brother know that their father's affair with Camilla Parker Bowles contributed to the breakup of their parents' marriage. Harry continues his education at the prestigious boarding school Eton. He feels out of his depth in classes, and Prince William snubs his younger brother. To channel his anger and pain, Harry throws himself into rugby, and he sometimes smokes cigarettes and marijuana with the more rebellious boys. One day, Harry allows the other boys to shave off his hair. Shortly afterwards, the Daily Mirror reports his haircut and publishes an unflattering caricature of how he might look. A few weeks later, Harry breaks his thumb playing rugby. A front-page news story suggests that he had a serious accident. The palace complains about the press targeting Harry, but to no effect. The press casts Harry as the naughty prince, and it's public knowledge that he's struggling academically. Harry feels that his aversion to academia disappoints his father, who loves literature, particularly Shakespeare. Prince Charles sends his sons on a South African safari, accompanied by Prince William's minder, Marco, and their nanny, Tiggy. Prince William keeps his distance from his younger brother. Prince Harry is drawn to Marco, an exuberant man of action, and is captivated by Botswana and its wildlife. One night, a leopard walks into camp close to Harry. Everyone else panics, but Harry calmly steps toward the leopard, believing that the creature is a sign sent by his mother. Prince Charles and his sons often visit friends in Norfolk during the holidays. Harry enjoys fighting with the families for sons and often rescues his brother. They progress to BB guns and aiming fireworks at one another. When no one else is around, Harry and Prince William fight with each other. Prince William feels that their father favors Harry during these fights. One day, Prince Charles orders Prince William out of the car and makes him walk behind them. At Balmoral, Harry hunts red deer for the first time. He shoots a stag, and his guide, Sandy, pushes him into the blood of the carcass. Harry goes skiing in Closters with his father. In exchange for privacy during the rest of the holiday, they must endure the wall, an official photo shoot with reporters. Harry enjoys spending quality time with his father. However, he feels guilty for enjoying an activity his mother disliked. When they return, Harry tells his brother he believes that their mother is still alive. Prince William says he has considered this possibility but points out that their mother would never leave them. The royal family gathers at Inchnababad, a hunting lodge on the Balmoral estate. Prince Philip grills meat, the Queen makes a salad dressing, and Harry makes the Queen Mother laugh as they drink martinis. On September 11, 2001, Prince Harry and his schoolmates watch the Twin Towers' destruction on TV. 3 days later, Harry celebrates his 17th birthday. At Highgrove, Harry and Prince William relax in an old bomb shelter they call Club H. They often drink and listen to music with friends there. Around this time, Harry loses his virginity to an older woman in a field. Marco asks if the rumors of Harry taking drugs are true because a tabloid news editor has claimed he's a drug addict. Harry denies the allegations, but the story is published. He believes that his father's office made a deal with the editor in exchange for favorable publicity about Prince Charles. Published photographs of Harry visiting a rehab center are deliberately misleading, suggesting Harry is a patient. One day, Harry shows his father's friend around Highgrove. She asks to see Club H and claims to smell marijuana. In 2002, Princess Margaret's death is shortly followed by the passing of the Queen Mother. The alleged photograph doesn't appear in the press. When Harry discusses his future with Prince Charles, they agree on the army as a suitable career, but Prince Charles advises his son to take a gap year first. Later, Harry meets up with his friend Hennius. 2 months after this meeting, Hennius is killed in a car accident when the driver collides with a tree. Harry plays the comic role of Conrad in Eton's production of Shakespeare's Much Ado About Nothing. Prince Charles attends opening night and laughs in all the wrong places. Before leaving Eton, Harry is accused of cheating on an art project. Newspapers publish the story, but Harry is eventually cleared of the allegation. He asks the palace to release a statement, but his request is refused. Harry begins his gap year by working on an Australian farm, Toowoomba, owned by Noel and Annie Hill, friends of Princess Diana. Their son, George, acts as Harry's mentor. Harry throws himself into farm work, rising early to herd cattle on horseback. George gives him the nickname Spike due to his unruly hair. After 9 weeks of privacy, a reporter sneaks onto the farm. Other intruders follow, forcing Harry to leave. Returning to Britain, he goes to clubs every night, and newspapers report him kissing a glamour model. Harry then visits Lesotho in South Africa to help an AIDS charity, taking George with him. On a visit to Cape Town, Harry meets Chelsea Davy, and they start dating. She accompanies Harry and George to Botswana. Harry meets wildlife documentary makers Tej and Mike, and they form an instant bond. Harry returns to England with Chelsea, who's uncomfortable with the intense press attention. During a secret exercise with the Special Boat Service, Harry falls and injures his knee. Consequently, his entry to Sandhurst is delayed. The palace announces that he injured himself playing rugby. The press suggests that Harry is faking the injury to postpone his military service. Harry goes to a fancy dress store to rent an outfit for a natives and colonials party. Unable to decide between two costumes, he calls his brother. Prince William and his girlfriend, Kate, choose a Nazi uniform. After the party, the newspapers print photographs of Harry in his costume, accompanied by outraged headlines. Ashamed of his thoughtless actions, Harry calls his father. Prince Charles agrees that his son has been foolish but admits to his own youthful mistakes. He suggests that Harry publicly atone for his actions, so Harry visits the chief rabbi of Britain, who talks in detail about the Holocaust. The rabbi suggests Harry make up for his offense by educating others. Boot camp at Sandhurst is physically and emotionally grueling. However, Harry feels at home and relieved to be away from press scrutiny. One day a reporter gains entry to the grounds with a fake bomb. He claims to be highlighting potential threats to Prince Harry's safety. During his training at Sandhurst, Harry is encouraged to release his sense of identity and give himself up to service. As training progresses, he learns how to kill and protect himself from being killed. He's taught to consider dying for one's country and honor. When Harry and the other cadets are sent to Wales for a training exercise, Harry develops trench foot, and medics advise him to stop. However, he tapes up his foot and finishes, feeling triumphant. Prince William becomes a cadet at Sandhurst after graduating from university. Meanwhile, Harry completes his training and awaits deployment to southern Iraq. Harry asks his private secretary, Jamie Lowther Pinkerton, JLP, for the secret police files on Princess Diana's death. JLP provides them but removes the most graphic photographs. Princess Diana looks uninjured in the pictures. Harry realizes the golden lights surrounding her are reflections from the paparazzi's cameras. When Prince Harry's deployment to Iraq is announced, Iraqi insurgents threaten his life. The army cancels his deployment. Feeling purposeless, Harry drinks heavily and is often photographed leaving clubs and parties early in the morning. He feels that reporters try to provoke him into violence. His bodyguard, Billy the Rock, helps him hide in the trunk of the car when leaving venues. Prince Harry and Prince William attend a charity concert at Wembley Stadium to mark the 10th anniversary of Princess Diana's death. Both brothers think about their mother, but neither can talk about her when they appear on stage. Later, while Harry and Chelsea stay with Tej and Mike in Botswana, Harry inadvertently calls Tej Mom, and the habit sticks. Returning to England, Harry threatens to leave the army if he can't participate in active service. His commanding officer suggests that Harry could serve in Afghanistan as a military air controller but must first undergo training. At RAF Leeming, Harry learns to direct military aircraft toward targets and drop imaginary bombs. He then goes to Sandringham for further training. When Prince Charles visits, Harry instructs a Typhoon to fly low above his father's car as if performing an airstrike. Harry attends the 2007 Rugby World Cup semi-final in Paris. He asks his driver to take him through Pont de l'Alma, the tunnel where his mother died, and he's surprised to see that the tunnel is short, straight, and easily navigable. After Harry tries to start a fight in a bar, Billy the Rock takes him back to the hotel. However, Harry sneaks out alone in the early hours of the morning. He calls Prince William, who also admits to driving through Pont de l'Alma. They talk about their mother's fatal accident for the first time and agree that the paparazzi must have chased the car and dazzled the driver. Harry and Prince William agree to make a joint request to reopen the inquest. However, the palace later dissuades them from doing so. Harry flies to Afghanistan, his first journey without armed bodyguards. He arrives at Forward Operating Base Dwyer in the desert, where he soon becomes accustomed to the sound of the base's massive guns firing at the Taliban many times a day. Harry is shown the equipment used to monitor battlefields and guide military jets. His role involves hours of watching a screen for signs of Taliban activity. The radio feed is a chaotic mixture of voices asking permission to cross the airspace. Harry's radio call sign is Widow 67. When Harry asks to be moved closer to Gamsa, where much of the fighting occurs, he's sent to Forward Operating Base Delhi, located in a school building, half destroyed by bombs. A group of Gurkha soldiers treat Harry like a god and ask him to kill one of their goats. Harry declines, concerned about causing the creature unnecessary suffering. When he monitors a Taliban bunker and plans an airstrike, he instructs the American pilots to use a 2,000-pound radar-controlled bomb. However, the Americans overrule him and use two less powerful bombs. He sees several Taliban fighters escape the bunker. Next, Harry is moved to a lookout tower frequently under attack by the Taliban. On the day of his arrival, he uses a powerful, .50 caliber machine gun to shoot at the attackers. Journalists are present, and Harry reluctantly gives an interview. The reporters agree to keep Harry's location a secret until he leaves Afghanistan. Harry is relocated to FOB Edinburgh to defend Musa Qala. A previous Taliban stronghold, the town has been recaptured by the military. Locals treat them with hostility because no one prevented the Taliban from torturing former cooperators and displaying their heads on the town walls. As Harry patrols Musa Qala in a tank, his unit discovers an improvised explosive device, IED. They call in the IED specialists, who safely detonate the bomb. One day, Harry and his unit watch as American soldiers fire warning shots at shepherds approaching on motorbikes. One of the shepherds is wounded, and while his injuries are treated, Harry cleans the man's motorbike. When the Americans release the shepherd, Harry returns the bike. Harry is instructed to take 3 journalists on a tank convoy. The reporters annoy him, asking to get out of the tank and film in unsafe areas. Finally, Harry gives in but warns them to be careful. The tank ahead is suddenly fired on, and the journalists freeze in fear. Harry shouts at them to get back in the tank. Later, an American missile hits a nearby village, causing many injuries. 2 men approach Harry's unit, pushing a wheelbarrow with a badly injured boy inside. As the army medics treat the boy, Taliban fighters fire at them. Afterward, Harry's team aren't sure whether the Americans injured the boy or the Taliban hurt him and used him as bait. One night, an officer announces on the radio that Red Fox is in danger and needs immediate extraction. Harry realizes that the officer is talking about him. He remembers the fox he once saw at Eton, now believing that it was an omen of this moment. Special forces collect Harry by helicopter and take him back to FOB Edinburgh. He learns that an Australian magazine revealed his location, putting him in danger. On the plane back to England, Harry sees 3 British soldiers with life-threatening injuries. When Harry returns to Britain, his first task is to give an interview with a selected journalist. Prince Charles and Prince William are waiting to greet him. Afterward, Harry goes to Cape Town to see Chelsea, and they visit Tej and Mike in Botswana. Chelsea is a student at Leeds University in England, and photographers start following her to class. When she returns to Cape Town, reporters follow her, and a tracking device is found under her car. Chelsea tells Harry that she isn't sure she can tolerate the harassment. Several months after splitting from Chelsea, Harry meets television presenter Caroline Flack. As soon as the press knows they're dating, reporters harass Caroline's family and friends. They agree to split. Harry asks to return to active military duty. He's told that the safest role would be as a helicopter pilot. However, he'd need to train for 2 years before being deployed. When he's sent on his first royal tour of America, his itinerary includes visiting wounded soldiers and the families of people who died in the terrorist attack on the World Trade Center. In Britain, Harry becomes involved with Help for Heroes, a charity for injured veterans. In addition, he privately visits wounded soldiers in hospitals. During one visit, he meets Ben, one of the injured men he saw on the flight home from Afghanistan. Ben lost an arm and leg in an IED explosion and is presented with a prosthetic leg. Harry watches him try out his new limb on a climbing wall. Returning to Botswana, Harry helps Tej and Mike as they film a documentary about elephants. He films a vet trying to fit a bull elephant with a tracking device. Harry and the vet chase the elephant for 8 kilometers before catching him. The News of the World publishes a video of Harry as an army cadet. In the video, Harry uses a racist slur to introduce his Pakistani friend Ahmed Raza Khan. Harry is ashamed, although he didn't know the slur was offensive. He contacts Ahmed and apologizes. He wants to apologize publicly as well, but his father's office does so on his behalf. Harry begins flight training at RAF Barkston Heath. His instructor, Sergeant Major Booley, sometimes sends the aircraft into free fall, forcing Harry to step up and take control. Harry progresses to his first solo flight before moving on to helicopter training. He triumphantly overcomes the hover monkeys, a phenomenon in which the helicopter becomes unstable when landing. Later, Prince William, who's training as a search and rescue pilot, shares a cottage with Harry. Both are pleased to hear of the investigation and arrest of journalists working for Rupert Murdoch, including Rehaba Cooks. Harry is relocated to Middle Wallop, where his instructor, Nigel, teaches him how to eliminate head squirrels. Nigel is frank with Harry about his strengths and weaknesses. He observes that the prince becomes defensive when criticized and notes that Harry isn't afraid of dying. After completing his training with Nigel, Harry is sent on a 3-month course to learn to fly Apache helicopters. He finds the classroom-based course challenging, but completes it. When he first flies an Apache, Harry is disconcerted that the instructor isn't by his side. During night training, Harry flies over Buckingham Palace. One night, he's momentarily blinded as someone aims at the helicopter with a laser pen. Harry completes his training in Suffolk. His instructor reveals that he was one of the team who extracted the prince from Afghanistan and praises Harry for overcoming the obstacle. Harry goes to Botswana for his 25th birthday. Tej and Mike ask him to help highlight the environmental crises in Africa. Harry and his friends take boats up the Okavango Delta. A storm hits, and the river becomes difficult to navigate. In a flash of lightning, Harry sees a herd of elephants standing in the river. He looks into the eyes of one of the elephants and experiences a sense of mysticism. Harry graduates as an aviator, receiving his wings from Prince Charles. He briefly reconciles with Chelsea, and they travel to Botswana, but decide that their relationship doesn't have a long-term future. With Prince William, Harry visits schools in Lesotho. In a remote mountain village, they learn that shepherd boys walk for 2 hours after a full day's work to receive an education. Harry gives one of the boys a flashlight to light his long walk to school. In November 2010, Prince William's engagement to Kate is officially announced. Harry throws himself into charity work and agrees to join a group of wounded veterans walking to the North Pole. As part of his re-education following the Nazi uniform scandal, he travels to Berlin. In March 2011, Prince Harry begins his trek to the North Pole. On the first day, he suffers mild frostbite. On the fourth day, he must leave the group to return to England for Prince William's wedding. The night before the wedding, Prince Harry, Prince William, and Prince Charles dine together at Clarence House. William's best men, James and Thomas, are also present. The public believes that Harry is the best man, but Prince William has asked him to compare instead. Crowds gather outside, and Harry goes outside with Prince William to speak with them. Harry reflects that Prince William's marriage will create distance between them. Harry receives a call from the veteran soldiers when they reach the North Pole. Still suffering the effects of a frost-nipped penis, he sees a specialist on Harley Street. The doctor reassures Harry that time will heal the condition. Harry begins dating Florence Brudenell Bruce. After several happy weeks, the press hounds Florence, and she ends the relationship. On Bodmin Moor, Harry and a group of soldiers undertake an escape and evasion exercise. When they're captured, Harry and the other men are blindfolded, told to strip naked, and must submit to illegal interrogation techniques. Harry doesn't respond when one of the interrogators claims that Princess Diana was pregnant with a Muslim baby when she died. He later learns that 2 soldiers went crazy during the exercise. The Queen sends Harry on a 2-week tour of the Caribbean to mark 60 years of her reign. After returning to the UK, with the prospect of his impending deployment, Harry spends his time at parties and clubs. He's constantly trailed by 2 paparazzi he calls Tweedledum and Tweedledummer. Harry suspects that the duo uses a tracking device or has an inside informant. He often fantasizes about hitting them but refrains, knowing that this is the reaction they're hoping for. Harry's cousin, Princess Eugenie, introduces him to Cressida Bonos. They begin dating, and Cressida agrees to wait for Harry when he goes to war. Harry visits Las Vegas with a group of friends. They dissuade him from getting a tattoo of Botswana when he's drunk. Later, Harry's friends invite women they just met back to their hotel suite. After suggesting a game of strip billiards, Harry loses and ends up naked. The next day, naked photographs of him are published in the press. Harry worries about how Cressida will respond to the story. Flying home, he meets with Prince Charles, who's understanding. Harry recalls that a newspaper once published naked photographs of his father on holiday, snapped with a telephoto lens. Cressida forgives Harry for his actions. In September 2012, he returns to Afghanistan as a captain. Shortly after he arrives at Camp Bastion, the military base is attacked, and 2 American soldiers are killed. Word emerges that Taliban fighters entered the base intending to kill Prince Harry. Harry feels sure that the Taliban discovered his location from reports in the British press. On Harry's first mission, a warning light flashes in the Apache soon after takeoff. He wants to ignore it, but his more experienced pilot insists on returning to base. Harry and the other Apache pilots fly in circles, scanning the ground for the enemy. The search is often frustrating because Taliban fighters hide among civilians or disappear into tunnels. One night, Harry's squadron is sent to find Taliban fighters who have attacked a control point. They identify 8 moving targets, and Harry asks for clearance to fire. While they await a response, the targets head in different directions on motorbikes. The pilot advises using a Hellfire missile, but Harry shoots the cannon. He hits one target but the other escapes. Afterward, Harry questions whether he should feel guilty about killing the enemy. He realizes that he doesn't and wishes he'd killed the other 7 targets. Later, a friend asks if the Taliban targets on motorbikes reminded Harry of the paparazzi who chased his mother in Paris. Harry is sent to target a Taliban training session. He aims at a motorbike carrying 2 riders and hits the target perfectly. He returns to base and resumes playing on a PlayStation. In their Apache, Harry and his pilot, Dave, chase a Taliban commander speeding on a motorbike. Their target deliberately rides through villages, leaving only small windows for Harry to safely fire without hitting civilians. He hits the motorbike with a missile but thinks the commander may have escaped. He then sees the man's body 50 feet away. Another time, he and Dave are called to a bunker where Taliban fighters are gathered but don't get clearance to fire. On their subsequent surveillance of the bunker, they see Taliban fighters preparing to attack a lorry. After permission to fire is again denied, they watch the truck explode. They follow 2 motorbikes leaving the scene but don't get clearance to fire. After every Apache mission, the video recording from the flight is reviewed back at the base. The squadron commander monitors each video to check kills for protocol errors. Every one of Harry's missions is approved. In all, he kills 25 Taliban fighters while in Afghanistan. When his tour ends in December 2012, he doesn't regret any of them. Before leaving Afghanistan, Harry is interviewed by a reporter. He's annoyed when the journalist not only asks if he killed anyone but also mentions his Las Vegas escapade. Before returning to Britain, the soldiers are sent to Cyprus. Here, Harry learns that the publication of his exit interview caused controversy. People are shocked that he compared the experience of killing Taliban fighters to a video game. Harry finds office-based work at the military base tedious. He asks to return to Afghanistan, but his request is refused. In May 2013, Harry tours the US, seeing the devastating effects of Hurricane Sandy. He meets the Obamas and attends the Warrior Games, an athletics event for wounded soldiers. Inspired, Harry wants to hold a similar event in London. However, when he tells Prince William about the idea, he responds negatively. Harry suffers panic attacks and stays in as much as possible, watching episodes of Friends. One day, he calls Thomas, the brother of his friend Hennius. As they reminisce, Harry hears Thomas scream and realizes that his friend is being mugged. He and his bodyguards find Thomas and take him to the police station. Harry continues to live alone in an apartment in Kensington Palace. His upstairs neighbor, Mr. R, annoys Harry by parking in front of his window, and Harry resents Mrs. R for parking in the space that his mother used when she lived at Kensington Palace. Prince William and Kate have their first child, George. Journalists point out that George has ousted Harry from third in line to fourth in line to the throne. In August 2013, Harry takes an official trip to Angola. Like Princess Diana, he detonates one of the hazardous mines. As his 29th birthday approaches, the press speculates about why he's still single, analyzing his failed relationships. Prince Harry consults his private secretary, Ed Lane Fox, ELF, about founding an athletics event for injured veterans. ELF arranges a meeting with Keith Mills, the organizer of the London 2012 Olympic Games. Harry tells Mills that the athletics event must synchronize with the First World War's centenary in 10 months. After Harry embarks on another Walking with the Wounded trek, this time to the South Pole, he drops a chair on his foot, breaking a toe. However, his injury is minor compared to the significant disabilities that the other men have. The group walks for 9 hours every day, pulling heavy sleds. Harry falls ill and collapses. He's treated by medics and rejoins the trek, successfully reaching the South Pole in December 2013. After Harry returns to England to spend Christmas with his family at Sandringham, the court circular, the publication of the number of duties each royal has undertaken during the year, causes tension. The circular inevitably leads to the press suggesting that some of the royals are lazy. Harry moves to Nottingham Cottage when William and Kate move to larger premises around the corner. Although they're nearby, his brother and sister-in-law don't invite Harry over. Prince William and Kate have hinted that they'd like Harry to marry Cressida, whom Harry has secretly dated for 2 years. He's grateful to his girlfriend for encouraging him to talk about his mother. However, he feels that their connection is more friendly than romantic. When the paparazzi start to follow Cressida, Harry ends the relationship. Harry attends a friend's stag party and wedding in the US. He's pleased that his friend has found happiness and wonders when he'll have a wife and family. In June 2014, Rehaba Cooks is found not guilty in the phone hacking trial. Harry is outraged, considering it a miscarriage of justice. He visits Tej and Mike in Botswana. As he leaves a club one night, Harry sees 2 men run toward him. One looks like he's reaching for a gun. Billy the Rock prepares to shoot the men before realizing that they're Tweedledum and Tweedledummer. In August 2014, Prince Harry visits an art installation at the Tower of London with his brother and sister-in-law. Thousands of ceramic poppies cover the moat, representing the Commonwealth soldiers killed in World War I. Inside the tower, they view the crown jewels. Harry attends the opening ceremony of the Invictus Games, the athletics event he founded for wounded veterans. Although he's anxious during his speech, the event is a success. Thousands of veterans and their families send grateful messages. The closing ceremony falls on Harry's 30th birthday. Later, Harry announces his decision to leave the army. When the injured soldier, Ben, runs a marathon around London, Harry turns up to support him. The year 2015 begins with a succession of official engagements for Harry. Meanwhile, the press turns against Prince William, accusing him of laziness. Prince William tells Harry that he blames Prince Charles, who allocates their duties. He suggests that Prince Charles and Camilla keep the high-profile appointments for themselves because they don't want younger royals to take the limelight. While Harry is in Australia, Kate gives birth to a daughter, Charlotte. A reporter points out that Harry is now 5th in line for the throne. Harry stops socializing, leaving Nottingham Cottage only to work or shop. His anxiety worsens as he and Prince William campaign to raise mental health awareness. He carefully plans his visits to the supermarket, wearing a baseball cap to avoid unwanted attention, and hears customers discussing him as they read the tabloid headlines, oblivious to his presence. One day, he breaks his cover and intervenes when a couple is rude to a cashier. When Harry visits Mildmay Mission Hospital, where his mother famously held the hand of an HIV-positive patient, the woman tells him that she sat on Princess Diana's knee as a 2-year-old. Harry feels jealous because he can't retrieve his memories of his mother. Toward the end of 2015, Harry visits Tej and Mike in Botswana. He wants to become more involved in his friend's environmental work. However, his brother has declared African wildlife charities to be his territory. For the next 4 months, Harry researches ivory poaching and its devastating impact on rhinos. On an anti-poaching patrol, Harry sees 2 dead rhinos, a mother and baby. He's told that there's no chance of finding the poachers responsible. On another expedition, he accompanies a doctor monitoring the desert's lion population. The doctor darts 2 lions, but the lioness unexpectedly wakes and stands in front of Harry. Instead of fearing her, Harry feels a strong connection with the lioness before she falls back to sleep. In January 2016, Harry travels to Los Angeles, California, with 2 friends and stays at the home of Courtney Cox. He and his friends attend several house parties. One night, they eat magic mushroom chocolates and Harry hallucinates, seeing a pedal bin transform into a head. Approaching his 32nd birthday, he looks up at the night sky, asking for his life to change. On July 1, 2016, Harry is captivated by an Instagram photograph of his friend Violet with another woman. Violet tells Harry that her friend is Meghan Markle, an American actress who stars in the series Suits. As Harry leaves for a sailing event on the Isle of Wight, he receives a message from Meghan. They agree to meet at Soho House, a private members' club. For the first time during the sailing event, Harry fears for his safety. He's eager to return to London for his date with Meghan. Harry's date with Meghan is brief because he's late and she has dinner plans. Meghan reveals that she's an entrepreneur and activist as well as an actor. They arrange to meet on July 4 before she returns to filming in Canada. Meghan meets Harry after watching her friend Serena Williams play at Wimbledon. Harry gives her a box of cupcakes for Independence Day, and they kiss. The couple discusses when they can see each other again. Harry persuades Meghan to meet him in Botswana. Meghan joins Harry in Botswana. She shares his enthusiasm for wildlife and is unfazed by camping in the wild. When the week is over, they vow to see each other soon. Harry's friends join him in Botswana. They spend their days on the river and evenings drinking by the campfire. Harry's iPhone gets saturated when he falls into the river. Anxious to keep in touch with Meghan, he writes her letters, asking Tej to photograph and text them. Meghan returns to London in late August, and the couple reunites at Soho House. The following day, Harry hides under the sheets when breakfast is delivered to Meghan's room. He suggests that they invite friends to Nottingham Cottage that evening. To avoid being seen together, they arrive at the supermarket separately to buy ingredients for dinner. Meghan gets along well with Princess Eugenie, her boyfriend Jack, and his friend Charlie when they arrive for dinner. However, she becomes violently sick in the early hours of the morning from food poisoning. Harry holds her hair back, realizing that he's in love. As Harry and Meghan head to the airport for her to catch her flight back to Canada, they stop at Frogmore Gardens. They agree that to see each other every 2 weeks. Because of the bureaucracy that Harry's traveling necessitates, the onus is on Meghan to come to England. Prince William and Kate invite Harry to dinner. Both are astonished when Harry says that he's dating Meghan and reveal that they're Suits fans. However, William warns Harry that a relationship with an American actress may prove difficult. A week later, Meghan returns to England, and Harry introduces her to his family. They meet Sarah Ferguson, Fergie, who quickly teaches Meghan to curtsy before introducing her to the Queen. Afterward, Meghan reveals that she mistook the Queen's younger son, Prince Andrew, for an assistant. Her mistake confirms Harry's theory that she hasn't Googled the royal family. Harry and Meghan call on Prince William unannounced. Harry's brother is visibly uncomfortable when Meghan hugs him. Later, Harry wonders whether his brother expected Meghan to curtsy. Afterward, Harry and Meghan visit Prince Charles and Camilla at Clarence's house. Harry thinks his father is impressed with Meghan. In October 2016, Harry travels to Canada to see Meghan. They attend a Halloween party, and Harry borrows actor Tom Hardy's costume from the movie Mad Maximum. Several people recognize Meghan, but no one recognizes Harry. As Harry is about to return home, the press discovers that he's dating Meghan. He warns her of the harassment that will follow, but promises to keep her safe. Prince Harry is shocked by the racism that underpins the tabloid stories about his biracial girlfriend. The Daily Mail incorrectly claims that Meghan was raised in a crime-ridden area of Compton, and journalist Rachel Johnson refers to her exotic DNA. The press also references Meghan's divorce, questioning whether Harry can marry her. When The Sun falsely reports that Meghan had an affair with a hockey player, Harry asks the palace lawyer to demand a retraction. The Sun ignores the request. Desperate to protect Meghan, Harry asks the palace lawyer to sue the newspapers. However, he's told that the best course of action is silence. Harry then reads an American article criticizing him for failing to defend his girlfriend from racism. Against advice, Harry releases a public statement. Prince Charles and Prince William rebuke him for doing so, arguing that no such action was taken when the press harassed their partners. Meghan briefly returns to England. She goes to a food store and, despite wearing a baseball cap, is recognized. A man harasses her, and other people in the store begin to take photographs. She's chased back to Nottingham Cottage by 4 men shouting her name. When Harry returns, he finds her crying. Harry is in Barbados, raising awareness of HIV testing with Rihanna. Meanwhile, Meghan has fled her home in Canada because of harassment by reporters. Harry arranges for her to spend Thanksgiving at a friend's house in Los Angeles. Meghan texts to say that her parents have joined her in Los Angeles. However, her father brought tabloid newspapers with him and left early after a row. Driving home from the set of Suits, Meghan is chased by reporters. The roads are dangerously icy, and she calls Harry in distress. He tells her to drive to the nearest police station. The police are sympathetic but say they can do nothing. Meghan goes home to find her house surrounded by paparazzi. She sits on the kitchen floor until dark, her dogs pacing and howling at the constant knocks on the door. Reporters even approach her neighbors. One neighbor fixes a video camera on his roof, angled at Meghan's backyard. She contacts the police but is told that her neighbor's actions aren't illegal. Meghan's mother, Doria, lives in Los Angeles and is also being harassed and libeled. An article describes her as trailer trash, and reporters follow her everywhere. Photographers even tail her to work and take shots through the windows as she delivers palliative care to patients. Harry and Meghan spend an evening at Nottingham Cottage. When Harry snaps at her, she makes it clear that she won't tolerate disrespect. Meghan suggests Harry try a new therapist to confront his unresolved anger. The Sun runs a story claiming that a video of Meghan is on Pornhub. It emerges that a love scene from Suits has been illegally posted on the internet site. Harry and Meghan make a formal complaint. Calling his father, Harry tells Prince Charles that Meghan has received death threats. In addition, he admits that he's scared Meghan will leave him because of harassment by the press. Prince Charles advises his son not to read the negative press coverage, noting that it's an unfortunate aspect of royal life. Harry visits a new therapist. He explains that his memories of Princess Diana are behind an inaccessible's wall, and he needs help to cry. In Harry's second therapy session, he vents his anger about press harassment. The therapist tells Harry that he's stuck in 1997, the year his mother died. Harry talks to the therapist about his need for surrogate mothers and his guilt over how his mother would feel about them. In addition, they discuss how the press dehumanizes the royal family. Harry's therapist points out that his preoccupation with the media is obsessive. After months of therapy, Harry can retrieve memories of his mother. In addition to happy memories, he recalls Princess Diana's distress when the paparazzi chased them on family days out. After Meghan spends thousands of dollars on legal fees, the Sun Prince an apology for the Pornhub story. Harry again unsuccessfully appeals to Prince Charles. Meanwhile, Camilla assures Meghan that she received similar treatment from the press. On the 20th anniversary of Princess Diana's death, Harry and Prince William visit their mother's grave at Althorpe. The brothers agree that they feel their mother's presence guiding their lives in a positive direction. However, Prince William is skeptical when Harry says he feels that their mother led him to Meghan. During Meghan's next visit to London, she agrees to leave Canada and move into Nottingham Cottage. Her first official outing with Harry is at the 2017 Invictus Games in Toronto. Afterward, the British press expresses disapproval at Meghan's torn jeans. Although the palace approved Meghan's outfit, it doesn't defend her. Harry tells his private secretary, Elf, that he wants to propose to Meghan. Elf explains that he must obtain permission from the Queen. Harry learns that Princess Margaret was talked out of marrying a divorcee. He's also reminded that King Edward VIII abdicated in order to marry divorcee Wallis Simpson. Harry points out that Prince Charles and Camilla were both divorced before marrying. Elf warns him that the Queen views each case on an individual basis. Anxious, Harry decides to approach his grandmother during an upcoming shooting weekend at Sandringham. Harry tells Prince William that he's planning to propose. His brother advises him against it, suggesting that he's being too hasty. At Sandringham, Prince Charles asks whether Meghan will continue working, pointing out that royal funds are limited. When Harry finally gets his grandmother alone, the Queen gives her permission. Harry has an engagement ring made from a Botswana diamond and diamonds taken from his mother's bracelet. In readiness to move to London, Meghan quits her acting job. Following the palace's instructions, she closes her website and social media accounts. Harry proposes to Meghan in the garden of Nottingham Cottage, and she tearfully accepts. When Harry's engagement is announced, the press starts to harass Meghan's father, Thomas Markle. The Daily Mirror reveals that he lives on the Mexican border, and paparazzi rent the house next door to photograph him. Meghan worries whether her father can cope with the pressure of press harassment. She often calls him, advising him to ignore the press and say nothing. Harry and Meghan embark on a tour of the United Kingdom to mark their engagement. The British public responds enthusiastically to Meghan. For advice on wedding venues, Harry calls Prince William, who rules out Westminster Abbey and St. Paul's and suggests Tetbury, but Harry dismisses the chapel as too small. His first choice would be to elope to Botswana. The palace approves St. George's Chapel as a wedding venue and sets the wedding date for May 2018. In February of that year, Harry and Meghan undertake their first public engagement with Prince William and Kate. The event goes well, although Kate seems taken aback by Meghan's request to use her lip gloss backstage. In the following days, the press compares Kate and Meghan, highlighting that only Meghan publicly supported the #MeToo movement. Harry and Meghan acquire Pula, a puppy companion for Meghan's rescued dog, Guy. The press harasses the couple less frequently but publishes inaccurate stories about the wedding arrangements. Harry and Meghan are encouraged to give details of their big day to the official royal correspondence. They agree, but Harry insists that he wants all reporters banned from the wedding ceremony. The palace insists that this would create significant difficulties with the press. They finally agree on a compromise: the royal correspondents will wait outside the chapel. Harry and Meghan visit Prince Charles to choose the music for their wedding ceremony. Meghan and Prince Charles bond over their love of Chopin. Harry plans to wear his army uniform for the wedding. He asks his grandmother if he can break with protocol and keep his beard for the ceremony. The Queen gives her permission, but Prince William is unhappy because he couldn't keep his beard or choose his uniform on his wedding day. Harry holds his stag weekend at a friend's house in the countryside. He's wary of getting too drunk lest Prince William shave his beard off. The weekend's highlight is Harry dressing as a chicken while his friends shoot fireworks at him. Talks ensue over whether Meghan, as a divorcee, can wear a veil. Although it's against protocol, the palace agrees that she can. Meghan gratefully accepts when Harry's aunts offer her Princess Diana's tiara. However, the Queen asks Meghan to choose a tiara from her collection. When Meghan makes her choice, the Queen's dresser, Angela, delays sending it over. Harry and Meghan receive death threats and are informed that their wedding is a potential target for terrorists. Angela hands over the tiara, but her reluctance is evident. The week before the wedding, Meghan learns that Thomas Markle has collaborated with the tabloids. Meghan's father denies the claim to his daughter. However, staged photographs appear in the newspapers the next day. Meghan then learns that her father has had a heart attack and won't be attending the wedding. The following day, Kate tells Meghan that Charlotte's bridesmaid dress doesn't fit. Meghan tells Kate to see their tailor, who will make alterations. However, Kate insists that a new dress be made. Harry finds Meghan crying after the disagreement. The next day, Kate sends flowers to apologize. Harry spends the evening before the wedding at a private cottage. He's hurt when Prince William initially says he can't join him. Prince William eventually turns up and accompanies Harry to meet the crowds. He stays for dinner but refuses to stay the night, insisting on returning to his family. 2 billion people watch Harry and Meghan's wedding on TV. Upon their marriage, they take the titles of the Duke and Duchess of Sussex. As the couple leaves the church, they see police snipers on the surrounding rooftops. Soon after Harry and Meghan's honeymoon, Meghan goes on her first solo engagement with the Queen. The press criticizes Meghan for not wearing a hat and getting in the car before the Queen, actions that the palace had approved. A month after the wedding, Prince William and Kate invite Harry and Meghan to dinner. Meghan tries to clear the air by pointing out that misunderstandings have occurred between them. However, her comments prompt the airing of more grievances on both sides. Kate is upset that Meghan suggested her postnatal hormones were making her forgetful. Prince William agrees that Meghan's comments were rude and points aggressively at Harry's wife. They shout at one another, and the evening ends awkwardly. Aware of the tensions between the young royals, the palace staff takes sides. Prince William blames Meghan, but Harry believes that new staff hired by his brother is the source of the conflict. Meghan tries to win over the staff with kindness and treats. She writes a condolence letter to Harry's old neighbor, Mr. R, after his son dies, highlighting her thoughtfulness. Harry and Meghan try for a baby. They stay at the Castle of May in Scotland for a few days with Prince Charles. Harry's father tells them a story about selkies, mermaids who appear as seals around the Scottish coast. He advises them to sing if they see a seal, as it may be a selkie. During their stay, the Queen calls and speaks to Meghan about her problems with her father. The Queen suggests that if Meghan can't visit her father to talk to him, she should write him a letter. Harry and Meghan go to the beach and see a couple of seals. Meghan sings to them, and they sing back. Later, Prince Charles's chef tells them that singing to the seals puts the animals' lives in danger because killer whales are prevalent around the coast. Meghan takes a pregnancy test, and the couple celebrates when the result is positive. Harry believes that his mother and the Selkies helped bring about this good fortune. The couple attends the wedding of Princess Eugenie. They take the opportunity to tell close family about Meghan's pregnancy. Prince Charles, Prince William, and Kate all warmly congratulate the couple. Meghan's pregnancy is publicly announced before the couple embarks on a tour of Australia and New Zealand. Soon after they return to Britain, the press gives Meghan the nickname Duchess Difficult. Stories emerge that her tyrannical behavior caused one assistant to quit, and that Meghan made Kate cry over the bridesmaids' dresses and had a tantrum when she couldn't have her first choice of tiara. Harry and Meghan invite Prince William and Kate to Nottingham Cottage. Kate acknowledges that the newspaper story about the bridesmaids' dresses is untrue. When Harry and Meghan ask where the story might have come from, Prince William admits that he told Charles and Camilla about their disagreement. Prince Harry asks his grandmother if he and Meghan can move to a larger property. The Queen suggests Frogmore Cottage, which needs renovations. Harry and Meghan retreat to Oxfordshire while the work is done. Aerial pictures of their Oxfordshire home, taken from a helicopter, appear in the newspapers. One day, Harry returns home to find Meghan crying, and she confesses to thoughts of death by suicide. Harry promises to protect her. In February 2019, the Mail on Sunday prints Meghan's letter to her father. Harry's father and brother discourage him from launching a legal battle, although both have sued newspapers in the past. Visiting his brother alone at Nottingham Cottage, Prince William describes Meghan as difficult, rude, and abrasive. Following Harry to the kitchen, Prince William takes hold of his brother by the collar and pushes him over. Harry's necklace breaks, and he lands on a dog bowl, which shatters and cuts his back. A few minutes later, Prince William apologizes and asks Harry not to tell Meghan about the incident. Harry agrees. When William leaves, Harry calls his therapist and tells her about the argument. He intends to keep his promise to his brother. However, when Meghan sees the marks on his back, Harry tells her the truth. The palace announces that the Sussex and Cambridge households won't work together in the future. Harry and Meghan move to Frogmore Cottage and relocate their office to Buckingham Palace. Prince William calls Harry, complaining that Prince Charles and Camilla have planted unflattering stories about him and Kate in the press. Harry sympathizes, referring to a negative article that recently appeared about Meghan. Prince William becomes angry with Harry, stating that he also has issues with them. Meghan's mother stays at Frogmore Cottage as her daughter's due date approaches. A week after the baby is due, labor is induced at Portland Hospital. During Meghan's labor, a nurse has to fetch more laughing gas after Harry uses the whole canister himself. When Harry sees the baby's head emerge, he realizes that the umbilical cord is tangled. He encourages Meghan to push, fearing that she may need an emergency C-section. Meghan gives birth to a healthy baby boy, and they name him Archie. Once the couple returns home with Archie, their communications officer, Sarah, publicly announces that Meghan has gone into labor. When Harry points out that his wife has already given birth, Sarah explains that the press wants to feel involved in events as they develop. When the newspapers discover the truth, they're resentful at being deceived. A BBC radio presenter posts a photograph, claiming that it's of the royal couple and their new baby. It shows a man and woman with a chimpanzee. Harry tells the Queen about their troubles with the press, and she promises to send a courtier to talk to them. Harry dislikes the courtiers, believing that they manipulate the Queen while seeming to serve her. He refers to them as the bee, the wasp, and the fly. The bee visits Harry and Meghan and listens to them sympathetically. He promises to put together a plan of action but never contacts them again. In the summer of 2019, Harry, Meghan, and Archie join Elton John and his husband in France. When Elton reveals that the Daily Mail is serializing his memoir, Harry is shocked, given that the singer once sued the newspaper for libel. Elton suggests that his previous battle with the Daily Mail makes it the perfect place to tell his story. In September 2019, Harry and Meghan embark on a successful royal tour of South Africa. When they return to England, they announce that they're suing 3 British tabloids. On Elton John's advice, they hire their own lawyer instead of going through the palace. The Queen and Prince Charles call Harry to Buckingham Palace. Prince Charles declares that Harry's lawsuit could seriously damage the palace's relationship with the press. Harry suggests that legal action wouldn't be necessary if the palace had defended Meghan. The Queen's courtiers claim that Harry never requested support. Harry attends the Well Child Awards, paying tribute to children with severe health conditions. During his speech, he becomes emotional, thinking about the parents and their children. Shortly afterward, Prince William sends a text inquiring about Harry's emotional well-being. Harry insists that he's fine, but the brothers argue via text. Prince William ends the exchange by saying that he loves his brother and will always be there to help him. In November 2019, Harry, Meghan, Archie, and his nanny retreat to a house on Vancouver Island. The family enjoys 6 weeks of privacy before the Daily Mail prints their address. Photographers soon surround the house. Harry and Meghan discuss spending 6 months of every year in another country, away from the British press. They decide on Cape Town, where they could still carry out royal duties in Commonwealth countries. Prince Charles tells Harry to put the request in writing. He warns his son not to take further action until they discuss it. Harry calls the Queen and tells her of his plans. She agrees that he can visit her at Sandringham to talk about it. However, on the flight from Vancouver to London, Harry is messaged by a courtier who says that the Queen can't see him. Again, he's warned not to make an announcement until discussions have occurred. The Sun publishes a story claiming that Harry and Meghan will relinquish royal duties and their titles to live in Canada. Harry and his staff release a carefully worded statement on Instagram. Meghan returns to Canada while Harry attends a meeting at Sandringham. The Queen, her courtiers, Prince Charles, and Prince William are all present. The Bee explains that they have 5 options to vote on. Option 1 is that Harry and Meghan will continue in traditional royal roles. Option 5 is a complete departure from royal life with no funded security. Options 2 to 4 are compromises close to Harry's proposed suggestions. Harry stresses that security is critical because he's concerned about the safety of his wife and child. However, his family steers him toward option 1. Declaring that option 5 is the only other possibility. After some discussion, the Bee distributes an official statement announcing approval of option 5. Harry suggests that the decision was already fixed and asks to see the statements for the other 4 options. The Bee claims that the printer stopped working as he was about to print them. It's agreed that the Sussexes will continue to have security for the next 12 months while the details of the new arrangement are worked out. Before he leaves, Harry visits the Queen's office, where the Bee's assistant confirms that all the printers are working. Harry is told that the palace has released a statement denying rumors that Prince William bullied him. Harry hasn't seen or approved it. In January 2020, a final palace statement is released stating that Harry and Meghan will no longer perform royal duties, their titles will be suspended, and they'll repay the cost of renovations to Frogmore Cottage. Harry joins Meghan and Archie in Vancouver, constantly monitoring the internet for reactions to the news. The press condemns the couple's actions. Harry and Meghan stay in Canada, and the palace provides armed security. However, In February 2020, the security guards tell Harry that they've been recalled to England at the end of March. The palace provides Harry with details of a security firm with an annual cost of £6 million. Soon afterward, Harry learns that his former girlfriend, Caroline Flack, has died by suicide. In March 2020, a global pandemic is announced. Knowing that Canada will soon close its borders, Harry and Meghan decide to move to the US. Meghan's friend, Tyler Perry, offers Meghan and Harry use of his gated home, Xanadu, in Los Angeles. When they move in, Archie becomes obsessed with a painting in the hall of the goddess Diana. The press discovers Harry and Meghan's location, and reporters overrun Xanadu. As the couple plans their next move, Prince Charles announces that he's cutting Harry's funding. At the same time, Meghan discovers that she's pregnant again. In July 2020, the couple buys a home near Santa Barbara. Still engaged in her stressful legal battle with the Daily Mail, Meghan collapses and has a miscarriage. On Christmas Eve, 2020, Meghan gives Harry a Christmas ornament shaped like the Queen. Harry hangs it on the tree, but Archie accidentally breaks it. In February 2021, the palace takes away Harry and Meghan's His Royal Highness and Her Royal Highness, Her Royal Highness titles and announces that they'll no longer perform royal duties. Harry visits a spiritualist, who claims that his mother is happy for him. Dubious, Harry asks for proof that the message is genuine. The spiritualist says that his mother was present when the Christmas ornament of a relative was broken. In Frogmore Gardens, after Prince Philip's funeral, Harry says that he can't forgive his family's collusion in the media's persecution of Meghan. Prince William suggests that his brother is a hypocrite because he collaborated with the media in his recent interview with Oprah Winfrey. He grabs Harry and vows, on their mother's life, that he wants his brother to be happy, but Harry doesn't believe him. He tunes out of everything else that his father and brother say. Meghan gives birth to a baby daughter and, later that day, writes a love poem to Harry. Harry and Meghan visit Princess Diana's grave at Althorpe on the 25th anniversary of her death. On September 8, 2022, Prince Charles calls to say that the Queen is gravely ill at Balmoral. Harry and Meghan prepare to travel to Scotland, but Prince Charles states that Meghan shouldn't accompany his son. When Harry becomes angry, Prince Charles clarifies that none of the royal wives will be present. On his flight to Scotland, Harry receives a text from Meghan. He checks the BBC website and learns that the Queen has died and his father is now King Charles III. Princess Anne greets Harry at Balmoral and takes him to view the Queen's body. Harry leaves early in the morning without seeing his brother or father. Harry and Meghan stay in England for the Queen's funeral. He and his brother walk behind the coffin but barely speak. The next day, the couple returns to California. Shortly afterward, a hummingbird gets trapped in the house. Harry guides the bird outside, where it pauses before flying away. Harry's discovery that hummingbirds are thought to be spirits suggests that he may see the creature as a visitation from his mother. As the bird flies away, it could equally symbolize Harry's newfound freedom.